afternoon guys, welcome back to the video. Today we're going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2 and all of the locations that are available in the game, as well as some more information we recently got in a new trailer. So first of all, one thing I will talk about is the confirmation of split screen. I do believe this was in the original game, and I'm really happy to see it back because split screen is something that's definitely dying out. The only problem is it only seems to be in single player. It's described as a split screen arcade mode, but I still think it's pretty cool because at least means that you can play with your friends when they come over your house, and you don't have to get the whole thing of they need to get two consoles and two TVs. You can simply just play on the same one. It's really a feature that's missed out on a lot of games, and I really think that's a shame. So now in the trailer they describe how Star Wars Battlefront 2 has 3 times as many locations, heroes and vehicles compared to the first game. From 14 locations at the launch of the first game, they now have 18. Now of course the locations don't mean maps, so locations mean planets, areas of planets, and obviously areas in space as well. And those are 4 single player locations and 14 multiplayer locations, which is a massive step up from the original game, and of course this is just the vanilla game, so of course there'll be more coming out in DLC. Now, in the new game, there were 14 new heroes at launch compared to 6 in the original game, which is a big step up again. That means obviously 7 heroes and 7 villains. Well, beforehand we had 3 on either side at launch. And that does, of course, include Darth Maul, which is super exciting. That's everybody's favourite Sith, and I really can't wait to play as him because he looks awesome in the game. Now they also have 39 vehicles compared to the 11 in Star Wars Battlefront 1, which is a huge step up. Vehicles aren't a massive thing of that game, and honestly I'm amazed they have so many. They work differently now as well. You can't just go around and pick them up. You have to earn certain points, at which point you can call them in. We have the names of all of the modes that will be in the base game. We have Starfighter Assault, Galactic Assault, Blast, Strike, and Heroes and Villains. Now, Starfighter Assault will be in space, obviously, and I assume what it will be like is you have to work together with your team to take out the opposing command ship. Presumably this will work like the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, where you have to destroy the life support, the shield generators, eventually then the support guns, and as well as things like the radar satellite. You have to destroy all of that, at which point you can blow the command ship up. So then we have Galactic Assault, which will be the largest mode, and I assume will act kind of as the bridging between the mode Strike and the mode Starfighter Assault, kind of acting as the one that has both ground and air combat. How this will work in terms of being like a conquest game mode, or maybe something where you have to destroy a certain objective, who really knows, but at the moment we know most about it is that it is the air and ground mode. So now we have Blast, which presumably is like the domination game mode. You walk around capturing all the flags. There's no vehicles, no space fighting. It's all close quarters combat that's very fast, short games, and really the one where you go, I don't want to play for an hour to half an hour maybe. You just go in, 10-minute game, and that's it. Simple, quick, a lot of fun. Then after that we have the mode Strike, which presumably I think will be like Conquest in Battlefield, where you go up, you capture different objectives, and then basically whoever has the more objectives will basically get more points or will bleed the enemy's tickets until they win. Or this could be like Rush, where one team defends, one team attacks. Maybe it would be like the original AT-AT Strike, where it is the case of one team has everything they need to just attack and the other one has to stop them and defend. Or perhaps this is an entirely new game mode that is very much like Conquest. Then lastly we have Heroes and Villains, which is really self-explanatory. Presumably this will be a 3-on-3 game mode like it was in the original, where you have 3 people playing as the heroes and they pick a hero character each, and 3 people playing as the villains. There was, I believe in the original game, there was 2 other players as well on either team who were acting as bodyguards, and I can't wait to see them, even though I'd love to see 5-on-5 heroes and villains. I think that would be awesome and so much fun. I'd also really like to see the mode, I believe it's called Hero Hunt, return. In this mode, one person would play as the hero, and everyone else would have the job of hunting down that hero, and whoever had the longest time playing as the hero got the most points, would therefore win the game. So now we'll get into all locations in multiplayer. First of all we have Death Star 2. This is of course the second Death Star after the first one was destroyed in A New Hope. We have Kashyyyk, which is the home planet of the Wookiee. Then we have Ryloth, which is a planet on the Outer Rim, and I believe this was featured in the Clone Wars, although I really know nothing about this planet. And honestly, I'll leave it like that and just discover what it's like when I get to the game. Next of all, we have Jakku, which is of course the planet featured at the start of The Force Awakens. This is basically like Tatooine, deserty sort of planet. Kind of interested to see it in the game, but then again, like I said, we have Tatooine, and I don't see much difference in those two planets. Next of all, we have Endor, a fan classic and personally one of my favourite ones. Honestly, this is just the general sort of woods map. Obviously, everyone knows the Ewok, and I'm really looking forward to playing this map again because it's a lot of fun. Then we have Hoth, the quintessential Star Wars Battlefield map. You can't really have Star Wars Battlefront without this map. It's pretty much everyone's favourite on the game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more AT-ATs on this map because there is no way they can have Hoth in the game without having AT-ATs. Then we have Kamino, which is the home planet of the clones. This is where they're grown, developed, and eventually will become trained to become clones. And this planet is basically an entirely water planet that has a very heavy rainstorm. So this map should be beautiful with the amount of rain falling down, and I really look forward to playing it. Then we have Starkiller Base, which is essentially the Death Star from The Force Awakens, and I kind of hope this map's really good, but at the same time it might just be a bit like a wooded hearth, which does sound pretty cool, and I really hope there's some original stuff on this map, especially seeing Starkiller Base is such a vast, again, base. You know, there's so much things in that could be really cool, and I really hope it's a unique base. Next of all, we have Yavin 4, which is the Rebel home base in A New Hope, and this is basically the same as Endor, but I really hope there's some changes in there. It should be more Rebel base, have things like, you know, big massive towers, Jedi towers maybe. That could be really cool to see, but I don't know what they're going to include to separate it from Endor. Either way, it's cool to have two wooded maps. Next of all, we have Mos Eisley, which is basically Tatooine, and pretty cool to have this one. Hopefully this has a lot of stuff in it, because the old Tatooine and the old Mos Eisley on the old Star Wars Battlefront 2 was a lot of fun. It's probably everyone's favourite map on that game, so I really hope they can sort of bring back that sense of fun with this new map. Next of all, we have the Unknown Regions. Now, I really know nothing about the Unknown Regions, and honestly I think that's pretty obvious that nobody really knows anything about the Unknown Regions. What it seems to be with this map is there'll be some kind of space battle just taking place in dark space, really, because there's sort of black holes in the unknown region, and really it's a massively unexplored area. Even during the Galactic War, nobody explored it, so hopefully there's some really cool stuff that is some of the best maps within this game, but it could end up being just simple space map. Next of all, we have Naboo, which is of course the planet mostly featured in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It's a kind of a cool map, and we've seen a lot of gameplay from this map, but hopefully it has a lot of things to set it apart. I'd really love to see some kind of underwater setting where you can go into the home of Jar Jar and wander around in that sort of bubble world they have under the water. That'd be awesome to see, along with all the creatures, of course, under the water. That'd be so cool. But they might keep this map simple as the display map, the one that looks really impressive, and they can show off in a lot of trailers. Next of all, we have the planet Takodana, which is where Rey gets a lightsaber and has the vision. And this is of course featured in The Force Awakens. There's not much is known about this planet, so who really knows what it's going to be like, but it's again another wooded map. Hopefully again it's set apart from Endor and Yavin 4, because I really hope that it's a fun map to play. But then again, it could be very similar to Endor and Yavin 4, meaning we have 3 wooded maps. And then lastly we have Fondor, which as far as I can gather is essentially a giant shipping yard, a planet shipping yard where all the massive Imperial starships are built. This could be really awesome, and I really hope that it is a cool, exciting map, but at the same time I could see it being rather bland, and the planet itself is basically entirely industrial, so I could see it having not a lot of beauty to it and really being sort of a cold metal map. So those are all of the multiplayer locations, and after that we have the single player ones that will appear solely on single player during the story, which is kind of a shame. Maybe they'll pop up in DLC or free updates when it comes along, but so far the free ones are Sullust. So now Sullust is very similar to Mustafar in the sense that it's basically all lava and just rock, and there are a species that lives there, live underground, and maybe they'll feature into the story somehow, not quite sure how, but hopefully it's a cool aspect. So next of all we have Pilio, which is essentially a brand new map in Star Wars lore. Nobody really knows anything about this map because they haven't shown us anything, so it would be kind of exciting to learn about an entirely new planet. Also then, another new map, we have Vardos. This is essentially a Imperial Utopia. I'm imagining basically the Imperial version of Coruscant. And then lastly, for the single player maps, we have Bespin. Now Bespin is one that I'm really kind of sad isn't in the multiplayer, because that is my favourite location in Star Wars, and there's so much you could do. Imagine having starfighters flying around the Bespin base as you're sort of fighting through it. That'd be just so cool to see, with starships flying all the way around it. But it's kind of a shame that won't happen. Maybe eventually they'll add it into the multiplayer, because of course there are meant to be free updates which will bring in new characters, new heroes, new maps and things like that, and obviously then paid DLC as well. But I could definitely see Bespin being one of those maps that's added in. So now hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I've been away for a while from doing videos, so this might have been a little bit off. And I really should begin scripting stuff to make it more professional, but I really hope that eventually the channel will take off to the point where I can put more time into it and it becomes more of an investment for me than just a hobby. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Rank Up Gaming, out.